Hey, this is Coffee Can't Fix Everything. This is a show where we talk about mental health over a cup of coffee. Now, I know, coffee is great, but it can't fix all life struggles. So grab a cup of coffee, come rock with us.
This is gonna sound a little cliche and a little hippie-ish, man, but I think the first place that people need to look is internally. You know,
Talk about it.
I just think that everything that we need, the Creator has given us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Larry.
Hey,
My
Big
guy.
Core. Big Core.
Hey, bro.
Yeah, good to see you.
Bro, I love you, bro. I'm trying to get better at saying that to the men in my life, because that's an awkward thing for me to do because of how I was raised. But you don't have an issue with that, but I'm trying to get better at that. So I appreciate you.
Well,
my
we
guy.
starting full force, starting
Full
off with
force.
the love, with the full love. Listen, man, I love you, Corey Dion Lewis, CDL. CDL doesn't swell. My man, My man, Silvis, Illinois' own.
Yes.
Right? Man, so you said you weren't raised like that. So what does that mean? Like dudes just didn't go around saying I love you?
No, it wasn't even like, it was, yeah, for real. Like, so it's awkward. Now I say I love you to my brother, but I feel like saying it to your brother is different than saying it to another man. Even when some of my closest friends be like, man, I love you, bro. And I'm like, love you too, man. But I say it, but it feels uncomfortable.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? And I think, especially this day and age where black men feel the way we feel right now, it is important for our mental health to be like, hey, you have support.
Yeah.
I love you, bro. Like, it's important to say that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. And you got to know that you're loved. You have to know that you're valued. You have to give that gratitude when you can. For me, a lot of the men in my life were pretty open with their feelings and stuff. My father, different story. You know, he's a career military guy. He's a retired sergeant major. So he's always been pretty hard as far as the emotions go. Nice guy, happy guy, likes to joke and stuff like that. But I'm gonna tell you what, man. I didn't really hear him say like I love you in a casual sense until I love you, man. You remember those commercials? That Budweiser commercial or whatever, Bud Light, whatever the heck it was, you know? And so for him, it started off as a joke. But now looking back, I'm pretty sure like that was a part of his evolution as far as being more comfortable even saying that phrase, because, I mean, forget me, I don't even remember him saying that at the crib, you know, to mom, you know, or any of his family members or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure he did, but it definitely wasn't prevalent. So, but you're right though, man. It's, you know, this day and time where it just seems like, you know, you're constantly in the crosshairs, literally and figuratively, when it feels like people are trying to erase your culture, erase your history, and you know, you can't talk about this in school and things like that. It could leave someone to say, well, why am I here?
Right.
Am I important? You know, everywhere you look, they try to make us look like we're public enemy number one. So it's a belabored point, man, but I'm glad that you brought that point up first, man, as far as the love, man. So I love you too. You're doing a lot right now for our community. You're setting a great example. You motivate me, you inspire me.
I appreciate it.
Man, because I'm like, man, Corey's doing this and this. All right, well, shit, let me. Yeah, I mean, you're the guy I'm trying to be like, man. So, no, I love you too, big dog, and it means a lot to me, man.
I'm gonna accept that. I'm gonna accept that, man. Which is something hard to accept as a black man, that love. But that leads to kind of what I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
Is that love and fatherhood. Anybody that I know that knows what being a father is like,
Come on, man. Come on with it,
It's
man.
with the starting 5 right here.
Starting 5, okay. So, Corey, putting a little bit of my business out there. Okay, all right. Well.
No, but for real, it's like we just talked about there's so much going on in the world. Black men are dying for no reason.
Yeah.
That sits with you, regardless. We don't know any of these people. Then we gotta raise our children to go out here in these streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How do you take care of yourself with the burden of your stresses and not passing that trauma on to your children who are innocent? They have no idea what's going on in the world.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard, and I think some of the trauma just gets passed on. Might even get soaked up through osmosis, because I certainly try to not necessarily paint a picture of doom and gloom, but like a lot of black kids growing up, we were kind of raised to always watch our backs, and to act a certain way out of protection, ways to protect ourselves, and also just we were raised like that to sort of quell the fears of our mothers and grandmothers. Corey, you mentioned the starting 5. So yeah, my wife and I, we have 5 kids. We have 2 daughters and 3 sons. Our sons are in the middle. And my older kids, my 2 teenagers, my son and daughter, they're old enough to go out on their own and go to the mall with friends and things like that. So a lot of these things that I taught them growing up, as far as I wouldn't say necessarily pitfalls, because I didn't like to stay too far into the negative, but some of those things about who you are and who you're representing when you're out and about. Now I'm seeing all that stuff really come to fruition, or I'm seeing all that stuff actually play out in reality now, right? Make sure you are with someone else and make sure you act a certain way or behave a certain way because, and I don't like to do it too much, but I'm sure I've hit them with the, because if someone sees you in the wrong, you're gonna be prosecuted to the fullest degree, while your little homie that might have a different background from you, they might get the slap on the wrist, that kind of thing. And so I try not to project on them like that too heavily. So to be honest, I'm still finding that balance. I'm still trying to find that balance of, arming them for reality, but also not completely scaring them off from being adventurous or taking steps to be independent.
Right, because you can, by not even trying to, you can stunt their growth. Mentally, professionally, whatever the case may be. You don't want to, like you said, what scares me about raising kids right now is the fact that, one, I want them to grow up and not feel these anxieties, these stresses, but I also know that they're going to be there.
Yeah.
And because of how my goal to raise kids in a positive environment, so they don't have to deal with some of the things I dealt with, am I throwing them out into this world without the defenses of being able to protect themselves in this world? And it's like, okay, I really want to give them the world, but I want them to see the world too, as it is. And what's that balance?
See, and Corey, I'm gonna call you out a little bit because I know you. You're my friend. And we both come from that same place. And I know that you keep a tight, close eye. You keep a close eye on them little Lewises. We live right down the street from each other.
Man.
Hey man, my kid might walk to your house. You know what I'm saying? And so no, but I get it though, man. That, it takes brothers like us to kind of like have these kinds of conversations, and then we do what we do. One thing that I kind of, I have 5 kids, so I've had so many times to where, I've been like, okay, it didn't work on those 2, so I'm gonna try this on these guys or whatever, So I've had multiple chances, but I think one thing that has been consistent with me and sort of educating them and raising them, but trying not to project is spend a lot of time talking about character. And that started from when they were riding in the backseat of the car, you know? But I can remember mornings dropping them off at preschool or school or whatever and just talking about what good character is, talking about words like integrity, honesty, and sometimes I would, you know, with me being a hometown kid, I've had examples where I kind of connect the dots, like, hey, I was really nice to this guy when I was in 3rd grade, and now I'm 30 plus years old, and we're able to work together because, you know, my character was intact, you know, those sorts of things. And so I kind of use this strategy where it's like, I'm gonna try to teach them about character. I want to present myself in a certain light, you know, lead by example, and hopefully that will be enough to kind of arm them, but also kind of be prepared for when they do experience, you know, some of those things that are unique to being Black in America. Or, you know, let's say we're watching something on TV, right? Which is rare because usually they turn something on and I'm falling asleep 5 minutes later. But on the rare occurrence that we're watching something on TV or a movie or something, or maybe even something on the news that kind of relates to the struggle, right? Specifically Black. You know, I'll certainly take the time to kind of break it down a little bit, and we'll talk about it. But I feel like, because I never, you know, for instance, like when my kids were really small, when they were really little, I would be talking to them about like Mansa Musa. I would talk to them about, you know, the history of kings and queens in Africa, and I would talk to them about other parts of, you know, African or Black history, right? Just to kind of really like instill value within themselves and where they come from and things like that. I wanted to talk to them about that stuff first before I talked about, you know, racism or maybe stuff that I experienced at school and stuff like that, because again, I want to arm them up so that, and it did happen too, when they got a little bit older, you know, right around like, you know, middle school, somewhere around there, you know, that's when they heard certain words being thrown at them for the first time. But like, they weren't completely caught off guard like I was when that happened to me. Like, they were kind of like already armed to know, oh, if anyone is hating on me because of the color of my skin, you know, they're, number one, they're tripping, but two, it's just simply not true, because my dad taught me about X, Y, and Z. You know, my dad taught me about, you know, Malcolm X. My dad taught me about Ida B. Wells or whoever, right? And so that's been my, I guess, my sort of my counteractive approach too, to dealing with certain things like that before they actually happen. Just arm them with that confidence and arm them with that history.
Do you recognize when you're trying to arm them, like you said, do you ever recognize that, hey, I'm trying to arm them to protect them, but I'm passing down maybe trauma from my parent?
Yeah.
Like our parents had trauma, they passed it to us. Now subconsciously we're trying to protect our kids. You recognize when that happens? How do you deal with that?
Certainly. Well, I don't always recognize it right away. I think now, you know, again, I've got five kids. Ages range from 15 to 4, you know, so I've kind of been through a lot. But a little insight, you know, my family, you know, I'm also in an interracial family, right? So
it brings a whole different dynamic.
It brings a whole different dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So I was raised by 2 Black parents, and they had a lot in common on a lot of levels. My wife is not Black, and so there have certainly been times where I'm thinking I'm in lesson mode and I'm, you know, sharing something with my kids, and my wife, that might be a foreign concept to her, right? And so that light bulb goes off, you know, and she's like, hey, oh, why are you telling them that, you know, or whatever, right? And sometimes it's like, yo, chill, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's like, nah, I'm not gonna chill. But sometimes it's like, dang, I might be going a little overboard. I might be preparing to talk to them about a lesson that isn't necessarily applicable to their circumstance, right? You know, I really felt this pressure to give my kids the most quote unquote black experience as possible, right? Then I kind of had to stop, you know, and be like, well, what does that even mean, right? Because there's so many, you know, there's shared experiences that we have, but then we're all unique. We're not all the same people. We don't all, you know, kind of grow up the same. And so I've kind of shifted my thinking to that. Now, don't get me wrong, like I'm still, of course, I'm about, you know, my people and teaching my children about, you know, where they came from and talking about racism and stuff like that. But I am raising my children to be allies. I'm raising my kids to be inclusive. I'm raising them to be tolerant and open-minded. Or at least I'm trying my best anyway to raise them to be that way. And yeah, and I can only be me. I can only bring my authentic self to the table, right? So, you know, sometimes that means like, hey, you know, we're gonna go down Larry's dad's black journey for a while, right? So ride with me. Some of it might apply, some might not, you know, but all my kids will be able to relate to and will be able to live in a world where they can be inclusive, they can perform, you know, act as an ally, you know, and they're going to naturally want to bring people together, but also like stand up for and represent for marginalized groups and communities as well. I mean, I've already seen them, you know, kind of take those stances and initiate certain kind of conversations, either at school or at home, and so I'm feeling pretty good about that. You know, this is a legit smile on my face. You know, some of that stuff is sticking with them. You know, so yeah, that's cool. But yeah, it's just tricky, man. And then like, you know, the intercultural family, you know, situation, like, you know, that kind of takes into account too, like how we address things. You know, I understand sometimes they might feel like they're living in between a couple worlds.
Right.
You know?
Right, especially where, you know, in the area that we live, for my kids, you know, same situation can be confusing, right? Because I feel like as a father, my responsibility is to make sure that my kids are ready for whatever comes to them. So nothing is a surprise. Like you said, they know how to handle a situation, right? Yeah. But at the same time, I'm talking to, this was during MLK celebration, and I'm talking to Hudson. Emmett Till got brought up during a speech. Hudson asked me after the conversation, who's Emmett Till?
Yeah.
We had to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And like, hey, this black boy was not much older than you when this thing happened to him.
Yeah.
And now I'm having to have a conversation with this 10-year-old boy about, hey, the world is going to see you as a black boy.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to see you like that.
Right.
And I'm looking at him, and he's like,
yeah.
What? Like just jaw drop shocked.
It's a lot.
Because he can imagine that ever happening.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it's like, you know Hudson.
Yeah.
I don't really imagine him being in a situation, not even talking about Emmett Till, like, but being in a situation where he puts himself in harm's way.
Yeah.
Right? But like, I don't feel like I'm doing too much being like, hey, you look at somebody, you do this, that, and the third, you're going, you can't. And he can't really, that doesn't really work.
Yeah, I get it, man. And so I had to let some stuff go, right?
Well, and the stress of it is, it's not clicking for him. That's what.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing that I feel like I had to let go. Because I've had conversations with my oldest son, for instance, where I was like pretty direct about that kind of stuff. Like, these people, they see you, they're gonna see you as a black man out here and blah, blah, blah. And, so good luck if you think you're gonna get, a fair shake or the benefit of the doubt or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, not only was he not getting it, but maybe I was projecting, right? And so this is kind of where faith comes into play. So if you were to ask me if I was a faithful person, I would say yeah. Somewhere in me, I believe that everything is kind of going to play out the way it's supposed to play out. We can have positive intentions and things like that. Does it affect the universe around us? I think so, maybe, right? But then there's just that faith of, you know what, I am optimistic of a positive reaction from whatever happens, right? Or not a positive reaction, but at some point, processes will unfold, and what's in his will is just what it is, right? And so, back to that character building piece, I just try to focus on, I think this is how you should try to present yourself, son, daughter, whoever. Right. And, these are good principles to abide by. And, man, just like how you and I had to just kind of go out there and get it, they're just gonna have to do the same thing, man. And they're gonna be in these situations, and it's gonna be a combination of, street smarts, combination of what mom and dad taught them, and then just their own faculty, man, that's gonna, address those situations. But what I do know is that us, as well as our children, we are all capable of solving any problem. We're all capable of figuring out any situation. Right. Sometimes that capability might come from having to go through something extremely hard or tough, but most people can and will survive tough experiences. And I just, that's kind of where like my faith sort of like comes into play, like I can only do so much. I can only do so much, man. But again, I got 5 of them things, man. So, I mean, yeah, I worry for my kids, man, but gosh, that's a lot of worrying, for every single time all 5 of them go out there, So I just try to be like my mom, and say a little prayer and keep it going, keep it moving, I mean, you can't be with them forever. You can't bail them out of every situation, and look, our kids are gonna go through some BS, man. I almost said a bad word. Excuse me. Oh, whoops. Hit that with a little bleep bleep. But man, yeah, I mean, you can't. You're not gonna be with them forever. You can't always save them, or whatever, man. And some of the biggest lessons we learn. I just met you 3-4 years ago, whenever, but I know you. You know what I'm saying? Some of the biggest lessons we learned were at maybe some of our lowest points, right? Well, that leads to what I wanted to say. What's so cool about this right now is that people watching are getting an inside look to conversations you and I have all the time.
This
really doesn't sound much different from
it does sound
what we were talking about on the phone.
And that leads, leads to my next question of they all, the saying, iron sharpens iron. Yeah. And dads sharpening dads or needing dads. There are not a lot of black men that have this, right? There's somebody out there.
You mean as far as like an outlet?
An outlet, a group, OG, somebody, a friend that they can say, hey man, I'm down bad, and they're struggling on their own. Yeah. And they're struggling alone. Yeah. I know if I have an issue, I can call you. I know if I'm struggling, I can call Lewis. Yeah. There's multiple people I can reach out to. Terrence, Mark, multiple black men that I know I can reach out to if it gets bad, right? For that,
even if it's not so bad.
or even if it's not
Right?
so bad, if we're you know, good and bad, you know, down times and time to celebrate, right? For that man watching, listening, that doesn't have that group, needs someone. What can they do? What is their step to have that outlet, or someone like yourself who is a connector, who can listen and give somebody a good word, and wants to reach out, sees a man that needs some, but they don't know how to connect with that person. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to just be like, they don't have that Larry charm to be like, hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, I think the solution is easy. Call Corey Dion Lewis. No. Nah, man. Look, and I get it. Yourself and me, you know, we have outgoing personalities, you know. I mean, we met each other because we were two black men that weren't too proud to say, hey, I could use some more friends.
Absolutely.
I could use some more like-minded friends. That's kind of how we got connected. But if you're at this point and you feel like, you know, you feel alone, or you feel like, you know, perhaps, you know, you don't know, you're not feeling valued, or just whatever it is, and you know, you just need to connect. This is gonna sound a little cliche and a little hippie-ish, man, but I think the first place that people need to look is internally. You know,
talk about it.
I just think that, you know, everything that we need, the Creator has given us. Everything that we need, right? And so I think the first thing that someone needs to do is just to slow down. No pun intended. You know.
Shout out to the Slow Down Coffee Company.
But I think I think the first thing that this brother needs to do is sort of you know, slow down and reflect. And then and breathe it out, you know. Box breathing is a method that I've been practicing for a few months now, and you know, you inhale for 4 seconds, hold it, exhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and you repeat that, and it calms you down and it helps you to find center. But with like anything in life, you have to make your intentions known.
Right.
You know. And it's hard to do, you know. So whether it's like, hey, you know, I'm seeking connection, I'm seeking mentorship, guidance, whatever, or business or family goals, you know. I'm trying to get a promotion, or I want to, you know, improve my marriage or whatever. You have to make your intentions known. You have to just talk to people.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously loquacious. I have a lot to say. I have not, I mean, yo, true story. I mean, when I got that advice a long time ago, like over 10 years ago. And man, that was some dangerous advice, because a brother already talks a lot. But like, when I realized, like, man, sometimes you just have to like speak your intentions out there into the world. I would be at the gas station, buying some ramen noodles or something like that I try to hide from my wife so that she doesn't know that I still eat, you know. And you know, you know, they get rang up and, what you got going on today, Mr. Twitty? Oh, you know, man, I've been looking for a place to, you know, where I can receive mentorship or provide mentorship to whatever. Like, I would just have conversations about anything with anybody, and it made me look a certain way, but I didn't really care, because you know, those interactions are so small. But I learned through that process that you just never really know, like, what kind of insight people might be able to provide and give to you. And there's been so many times where I felt like, man, I'm the luckiest dude on the planet, because here I am just opening my big mouth, and someone gave me some game that's actually adding value to me and helping me get a step further, towards my goal. And that's happened on so many occasions, and so that's, and it's. I think that used to drive my wife crazy, that I would just like talk and and share so much with people. She's at a particular transition, she's got some business ideas up her sleeve and things like that, and so she's normally a kind of an introverted person, at least her disposition is, and now like it's awesome, like kind of seeing her like just talking about these things that she would normally keep upstairs, because I'm seeing her going through the same process, just talking, getting gems, and getting what they need. Yeah. So, but man, yeah, connection is important. Connection is important. A lot of brothers, see, and I can't even really say, because, a lot of my friends are brothers, and we all have each other. Right? I mean, I really can't imagine what it would be like to like not have someone that you feel comfortable reaching out to, but I do know for a fact though that there are people in that boat.
It's real,
yeah. And I think that's just where you start. I think you just start with making those intentions known, and I'm gonna stop it there, because then if the next question is, well where do I go to talk to people? Well, come on. I can only give you so much game, How about you go get you a coffee, let that caffeine activate you, and then, then you figure out the rest from there.
Yeah, but for real. We were talking early before we started having this conversation, and I was talking about how I was listening to a lot of J. Cole lately, and that track, Middle Child, how our generation, I think J. Cole's our age, right?
Yeah, I think he's like, probably. I mean, I'm 38.
Yeah, but like we're stuck in that generation where we're either little homie and big homie at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know you do a lot of work with brother to brother, mentoring young black men. How was that experience, and what have you learned by having to be a mentor to young black men that you're taking with you and giving that game to maybe your own children, or even to other grown men that need that work?
Well, so I'm 38. I don't look 38. I know I don't. So there's always kind of like that awkward moment when people are trying to figure out if I'm a kid or if I'm a grown-ass man. And then my kids are all taller than me, so that doesn't help.
Where's that birth certificate at? I need that birth certificate.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't help, man. But so my day-to-day, like my 9-to-5 life, has been heavily I've been a recruiter for most of my career, and so something that I've seen both with my role as a recruiter and then as my role as like a mentor, the glue that I guess that binds the commonalities between the two groups is authenticity, right? And I'm far from where I want to be in life as it pertains to specific goals and things like that. But I've accomplished some of my goals, married and have a family and stuff like that, and have a career. And so, and through all that, I feel like I'm relatively stress-free, and I mean, we all have stresses, but, I think I'm making it look okay, right? And so I do, when I'm at these career fairs or these networking events, or just even at mentoring, just a lot of the questions, or just a lot of the stuff, or a lot of the advice that people want from me is just like, how are you able to, I guess, do these things that you've wanted to do, but still kind of maintain, you know, your own sense of self, your own sense of you know, authenticity, and you know, it's kind of a tough one to answer, but I've just noticed that like these kids, they don't want the sugarcoat answer,
Right.
you know. They want what's real. They want what's tangible.
Yep.
You
They're
know?
already sizing you up.
They're already kind of sizing you up, you know, and and I think that's kind of why they keep coming back to a person like me, is because, you know, my filter is appropriate. You know, I wouldn't say I don't have any filter, but you know, I kind of respect where these folks are at in their lives, and so. You know, when it comes to career stuff, you know, and they say, you know, hey, you know, you're a brother out there with dreads and you work in human resources. Okay, it wasn't always like this, you know, and not, you know, like, hey, I had to come to a point where I was comfortable and willing to accept whatever consequences that came like this, you know, and that came at a certain part of my career, you know, and so, but yeah, I would say, you know, these folks, you know, that I'm talking to, that I'm giving game to, man, they really want an authentic connection. They want something real, and I try to be as real as I can, you know, without getting anybody in trouble. Yeah.
Right. You know, when I used to be afraid of being a mentor, it freaked me out because in my mind I felt like I couldn't be a mentor because I didn't have it all together. Right? Like, there's no way. Please don't put nobody in front of my face. you know,
Man, you'd be a great mentor.
Yeah.
You're a mentor to me. You don't even know it.
Looking up to me, and I'm like, bro, I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like, you know, just to kind of piggyback on what you said, and what I've learned just from this conversation, all of our conversations, but like, being a good mentor, being a good father, being a good husband, being good at what you do, all boils down to what you've been saying all day, and that's being authentic, right? I don't have to have all the answers. This is something I say to my patients a lot. You know, when they're in my office, like, you can ask me anything you want about nutrition, exercise, your disease. I might tell you I don't know.
Yep.
And I might have to Google that joint.
Yeah.
You know, but
that's why they like you, though.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly why they like you. Like, dude, that's why any job prospect or candidate, you know, likes working with me, because I keep it real. I keep it real all the way. You know, hey, this is what the salary range is looking like, you know, this is the demeanor of the people that you're going to interview with or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I let them know, like, oh, you want to know X, Y, and Z? Sorry, I don't know how the answer to that. Right. I'll find it out for you, whatever. But like, you know, because we live in this world, man. Everyone wants to be an expert. Everyone wants to be a SME, a subject matter expert. You know, they never be wrong or whatever. Well, I don't like being. You know, I'm loud, but I don't like to be loud and wrong. You know,
right?
And so I would just rather let's put a pin in that. Yeah, exactly. Let's put a pin in that. Let's circle back. Not sure the answer, you know, but you know, again, it's that authenticity, you know. So that's a good point, man, that you bring up.
Yeah, facts. Larry, thank you so much.
Corey, man.
What's so cool about this is I know tomorrow we're gonna have another conversation.
The same conversation
with no camera.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Exactly.
That's dope. I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much.
Man, thank you, man. I'm excited, man. Cheers to you and all your success, and I can't wait to tune in.
Yes, appreciate you.
You bet, brother.